Hi, good morning. Tim Sykes here. It's just after 4:30 in the morning. Of course, the market is open and it is on fire. Pre-market already. Several stocks up 170, 80, 60, 50, 40, 30%. This is not normal. FYI, most of the time you don't get stocks running this much, this heavily so early in the morning, but this is the market. This is why I'm not feeling great. I am feeling better than last Friday. Last Friday's video lesson was a mess. I was trying to give a webinar and I was coughing and sneezing like every 3 minutes. You'll hear, I'm not 100%, but I'm definitely feeling better. I know health is wealth, but at the same time, there's so many plays. And unfortunately, the past few weeks, I committed to being in Asia, not the right location. Jack Kellogg, shout out to him. He was supposed to be here in Asia with us. Actually have a new school opening in just a few hours. Jack was going to visit his school too. So, sometimes you make your bed and you got to lay in it. So I'm not complaining. I'm just explaining. Jack stayed back and he's having basically $1 million month, which is awesome. Another $1 million month. He made $1 million last month too, which is crazy. So you got to push it when the market is hot. I'll go over some plays, what I've been doing right, what I've been doing wrong. I have not been capitalizing well, just going back to the whole being sick, trading on the opposite side of the world. It's a really tough market to not be optimized. And, many of you, hopefully you're not sick, you're not on the opposite side of the world, but you're just beginning. And there's so many plays and they're moving so fast. And I'm getting a lot of messages from people who are not capitalizing the way you feel like you should. Don't feel bad, guys, okay? There's always another play. The good news is, even though it can be frustrating when you lose, you get too cocky on some plays, you zig when you should zag, you zag when you should zig, you miss another good play when you're in the wrong play. These are good lessons. There's no bad lessons here, and if you stay in the game, you cut your losses, it's not the end of the world. I'm red on the month, okay? So not only am I waking up at ridiculous hours and sleeping ridiculous hours, it's not even worth it. All I had to do was sleep in and I'd be wealthier. But at the same time, you don't know if you're going to lose or not. I've done a lot of stupid, sloppy trades and, I'll learn from this. So it's not just if you're red or green on a given day, week, or month. It's can you learn and can you use those lessons to, bring you to the next level in the future. Sometimes you do have to have a red day, week, month, or even a red year to go forward in the future, which is weird, but that's how trading works. Everyone wants it to be perfect. You want to be green all the time. That's not realistic, and that's not helpful. So if you are losing, don't feel too bad. There's a lot of choppiness too. Let me just congratulate a few students. Oh, everyone's posting traders when 24-hour trading starts. I mean, it basically already has, okay? The markets are hot at 4 a.m. Eastern, and we're having 4, 5, 6, 7 a.m. spikers. The market is hot after hours, 4, 5, 6, 7 p.m. spikers, not to mention the whole normal trading day. So, there'll be another few more hours in the next few years, but it's already overwhelming. And you just got to try to pick your spots. You don't feel like you have to be there all the time. There's so many students to congratulate, but I would be remiss to not congratulate so many. B. Cardner, LAES. I'll just, I'm going to go over these stocks in conjunction with these students. I think that will be helpful. Leave a comment below. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to try to give a challenge webinar later today, but it'll probably be pretty weak. Jack Kellogg is also giving a challenge webinar. I highly encourage you to tune into that. But B. Cardner rode LAES yesterday, 1,500 overall. He had some loss. Oh my God, INTZ is just going berserk. When I started this video, it was in the 120s. This is what's happening. These stocks just go supernova. And look at the volume. It just traded 1 million shares in a minute. This is the kind of stock you want to focus on. Big percent gainer stocks breaking out to new highs. RZLV is also up there. This is another AI play. But LAES, I was buying this, if you remember, in the 2s last Friday. Okay, so this is more than a quadruple. This is nearly a quintuple in a week. And this is just an upcoming quantum play. I said on last Friday that I like the news. Feels like a lifetime ago. Was it last Friday? Oh, shoot. Maybe it was 2 Fridays ago. No, it was here. It was here. Good. Okay. And I was thinking that it was going to be a discovery day. I'm working on a new guide explaining what, some of my new phrases like early bird catches the worm, although that's self-explanatory, but discovery day, where a play in a hot sector really gets discovered and that can get it going. And I got out and I was so quick, but again, I was so sick. Like it was the worst day of the week for me. I couldn't even stay awake. It should have been my over the weekend play. Even over the weekend, from the 2s to Monday, nice into the 3s, and now into the 9s. You don't know how far these things go. I wouldn't hold the whole time, but look for breakouts. This was a nice breakout here over 7. And you had 2 opportunities. You could buy the initial breakout from 7. Let me just zoom in here. Buy the initial breakout from 7 to 760. It was quick. Or you buy the dip here from 7, and then it went all the way up to 880. I actually took this play myself. This was probably my best trade of the day in the week. This was me just recognizing that it's going to have another leg up. 7 was the key level breakout, so I bought it. I dip bought it. It had already hit the 770s. So, I'm buying it on a 10% dip. You might say, Tim, you made 35 cents a share. It's now $2.50 a share higher. Yes, but again, sometimes it's not just about how long you hold or how much you make. You just want to do a good trade. And, I had been very sloppy yesterday, as I'll go over in a sec. This was a good trade. And when you have a good trade and you can get back on track, you lock it in and you don't expect too much. And that was really good for me. This was a really good trade. I don't know when B. Cardner was in, but he was riding it, 1,700 yesterday. And again, he's probably going to slap himself too, because now it's up even more overnight. Just take profits along the way. Don't feel bad if you sell too soon. Don Juan nailed QSI for 4,600, OPTT 3,600, and SES for 3,000. All of these plays are up again. Let's see what QSI is up to. QSI is up another 40%. OPTT up another 18%. Nice after hours run yesterday. And then, SES is the one that's up another 80%. So as much as everyone's like, wow, Don Juan, you really nailed it. I mean, this is solid, all right? Like this is over $10,000 in profits on these 3. And yet just holding overnight. I don't know if he held overnight, and I'll check in a bit. But if he held overnight, this 10,000 in profits could become 15, could become even 20,000. That's the momentum. And again, don't feel bad if you sell too soon. These are good gains, but just to show you the opportunity. It's not one play. It's not one sector. It's AI stocks, robot stocks, drone plays, and quantum plays. These are 4 hot industries. EM Swarm made 460. Cash had POET. This was XGPT also had PDYN. So cruise control saw PDYN nice in the 490s and out at 560. So pretty good. WEC also nailed QSI. AMPG, which they even did an offering, and it still keeps going. Last I saw it, it was in the 5s. Let's see if it's gapping up too. It's really just tough to try to keep up. And AMPG is so squeezy. Yeah. So look at this. AMPG does the offering here from 460 all the way down to 350. You might see a lot of short sellers being like, these companies are crap. They're going to do offerings. Yes, but again, in this market, an offering is not that bad because there's just so many short sellers. I saw some short sellers saying like, this could be the worst market ever. Yeah, it's the worst market ever if you have the wrong strategy, right? If you're a horse and buggy driver on the advent of cars, you'd be like, oh, I hate cars. They're the worst thing ever. They're putting me out of business. But really, you just haven't adapted. And this is what's happening with short sellers. I saw a lot of bitter, toxic, angry short sellers saying AMPG did an offering. It should be going down. The rules of the game have changed, okay? We're in such a bull market. There's so much momentum. Anything that can lure in short sellers can actually spike even more. So, it's funny to me when short sellers say fundamentals, valuation, they're all up in arms with Let me see. Let me pull up QUBT, because QUBT is like this wannabe quantum company. They have hardly any revenues, and it's so small, and the stock just keeps going. And the short sellers are like, wah, 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 wah. But, you can't fight the trend, okay? I'm not saying these are good companies. I'm not saying invest in them long term, but ride the hype and just never believe it. And, with short sellers, God bless their narrow-mindedness and toxicity, because they are the ones betting against these plays and creating these great squeezes. People ask, how does that work? If they're betting against them, how are they creating squeezes? Because in order for short sellers to exit their positions, they have to buy to cover. So they take their negative position and they buy it back. So they go from, let's say, like negative 1,000 shares to zero. And to go to zero, they have to buy. And when they all buy in mass, it creates these great squeezes, which is what we've been seeing. So, I rip on short sellers. I bring them up as, lessons of what not to be like. But we got to be grateful for them, because they are the ones pushing these stocks up. This stock doesn't deserve to be this high. But when you have some buyers, a lot of buyers, a hot market, and too many short sellers, it's a powder keg and it just explodes. Also, Tech ST sold SES at 165 from 112. I mean, this is nearly, 40% gain. That's awesome. And now this thing is double. This 40% winner overnight would be 100%. So just to give you an idea of how high these things can go. I'm not saying don't take the 40%, but recognize that these things can go a lot higher. I wish I had been up. Again, this is where, me not being able to be there all pre-market and all night hurts. I probably would have taken some SES overnight, when the spike high here is at $1.80, and then it comes back to $1.80, and then it closes right around. You got to be buying here. If you're up at 7:30, 7:50 p.m. Eastern, you got to be buying. I think Jack Kellogg and JCP were long this, or they put out a note. And, when you have these plays that are finishing near their highs, they can go a lot higher. And this is an awesome overnight win for anybody who held SES. I wish I had been awake. Sean 95 KULR, nice. I made 9,200. Everyone give a shout out to Sean. He's having a $100,000 plus month. He normally has $8,000 months. This is like 10 times his normal month. Even Himini nailed BTQQF. Ethan, I love this. Up 247 this month from a $150 account. Okay, so some of you who say like you can't start small, yes you can. Of course you can. And here's E90 Road KULR. KULR is interesting. They've actually paid promoters in the past. Let me pull up KULR. Oh my God, there's just too many plays to watch. I'm going to do my watch list. There's like 30 or 40 stocks on my watch list. This is KULR, and they announced their Bitcoin treasury right here when the stock was in the threes. And frankly, I saw the news and I didn't act because it just wasn't moving that much. In hindsight, should have been watching it right at the open. There were too many plays. I wasn't watching KULR. Beautiful morning spike. This is what I'm saying, guys. Like, it basically already is a 24-hour market. Whether you're up at 4 a.m., whether you're trading at 9 a.m., whether you're looking at these plays at 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern, there's just so much. Props to everyone who saw this. If you see a stock like this spiking near the open with news, like, try to go long. I was just, watching another play, and that was my mistake. And then also J-Ray, PDYN, J-Ray is pissed because he feels like he should be doing better. Don't feel bad, guys, okay? You're just trying to take it one trade at a time. Look at my trades if you want, like, near worst case scenario. I was way too aggressive on WAFU. I thought that I saw something. I thought that it was going to be like the next BAOS or NBNI yesterday. And I was just wrong. Like, it just, aside from the initial spike and there was a little bounce, but it just faded. This is the other side that most people don't talk about, right? Like, it's like, hey, everything goes up. Sometimes it just doesn't. Sometimes you get the crazy spikes, the crazy, 4 a.m. spike, and then this just faded all day. And I added, I don't think once, twice, I think I added like 3 times because I'm trying to give it time. Right in here. This was the heartbreaker too. When it dropped, it doesn't look like much on the chart. but it was actually uptrending right in here. It was holding 215-ish, and it was breaking 225, and like this spike was so good, and it was going from 220 to 227. I was like, now is the time. And then there was one big seller. If you were watching the level 2, he came in with like 70,000 shares and just pummeled it. And I don't know, I'm guessing it was a short seller, because it would make no sense if you're a long to just destroy the momentum like that. You know, there also was one big seller right here. So there's some big short sellers. This is the problem also with short sellers. Sometimes when they're right, or even if they're not right, they can pound the stock to make it look like they're right. This stock was starting to spike big, and then there was a 150,000 share sell order that came in, and you know, the 150,000 shares finally got like worked through here, and so I thought that the big seller was gone, but really came back in right in here and right in here. And again, like this is just when the stock is found a base and it's uptrending. So, you know, some people might say, no, how do you know if it's a short seller? You don't know 100%, but it would make sense if I was a short seller and I wanted the stock lower, you know, and I had shares that I could short, I would short into the failed spikes. But this was not a failed spike at the time. You know, short sellers are the new promoters, FYI. So a lot of these shorts claim like we're all about fundamentals, we're all, you know, they're not. Short sellers are shadier than promoters ever were. And short sellers destroyed this stock. So it sucks because I was in it and I lost a few $1,000s, but it's a good lesson. There are some short sellers out there lurking. They will bear raid the stock. They will crash any momentum at any moment's notice. So if you see this in the price action, just accept it and move on and say, good job, short. You know, you won 1 out of 100. Literally, that's what it's like. 1 out of like 50 spikers yesterday. So the short's got to win sometimes too, you know, and it's a good lesson for me. But I got too aggressive. Z-Car, I got too cocky. This wasn't even me being aggressive. I was in the 320s. It was up to 360. And, you know, I had a nice $1,500 gain on this one, and I didn't take it because it was spiking, and I was like, oh my God, this is one of the ones where I can like be more aggressive. They had good business news. I thought that I'm picturing the 4s, and I should have just taken the 40 cents a share, and then it dropped. And this was another one where I don't know if it was short sellers or what. This has always been a sketchy kind of play, the way it trades, but got too cocky. Shoulda, woulda. You know, like that's the crazy thing. Even though I was completely wrong on WAFU, at least I cut losses. Z-Car should have been 1,500. You know, I don't mind about this one being 1,000. But if Z-Car had been 1,500 and this would have been 1,000, I would have only been down 500 yesterday. But instead, I was down more because I got cocky. So again, good lessons. I don't mind the losses. I don't mind the lessons. I just got to do better. We got a whole new set of plays today. I'm watching INTZ the most because it's holding near its highs and it's up 250%. So it's 4:54 in the morning. I got to get some tea. I'm not even drinking coffee right now. I'll see you guys in chat. Leave a comment below. Let me know how you're doing. Are you learning? Are you banking? Are you overwhelmed? There's no wrong answer, guys. It's freaking awesome. See you in chat. So I got to do one follow-up. I finished that last video lesson just a few minutes ago, just before 5 a.m. Right now it's 5:08 a.m. But this was how I closed the last, look at this. How I opened the video lesson, INTZ was at $1.23, okay? This is the video lesson. I'll post, you'll see the whole thing. And then as I was closing it, INTZ was up 250% at $1.57. And some of you are like, Tim, like, why are you pushing yourself? You know, it's only a few $1,000s each way. It's a few $1,000s when you start small, or even a few $100s plus or minus when you start small. But if you actually follow this game and really scale up, it's life-changing money. You can make an annual salary in a day. You can make an annual salary in an hour. Just to give you an idea, and I know that sounds crazy, but this is, 10, 15 minutes later, after I finished that last video lesson, the stock is now 260, okay? The stock, when I started the video lesson, it was in the 120s. It was right in here. This was 30 minutes ago. $1.20 to $2.50. This is a double on your money. And the stock is now up 460%. So when you look at students like this, JCP, shout out to him. I should have congratulated him in the first video. He's having a $200,000 month. This is double his previous month of $98,000. This was Evan. I got to post pics and videos from his wedding. I went to his wedding. That's one of the reasons why I'm out here in Asia. He got married in Boracay a few days ago. I didn't even post. I'm sorry. I'm so behind. But, you know, Evan is a former pizza shop cashier. He was working the cashier at a pizza shop. He's now making, I don't even know. I think he's up to 1.5 million. I know he was making like 60 grand on his honeymoon the other day. He posted that. And JCP has a $200,000 month. It might even be more now, but he's doubling his previous best month. Okay. And these are just two of now 40 plus millionaire students. So I push myself because there's play after play after play and student after student after student, and you all deserve to learn from them, and you deserve to see what's going on. JCP, in case you want his hot hand, he is the moderator now of Jack Kellogg's Power Signal Indicator. He's the analyst. You know, we all need a little help, and Jack needs a little help from JCP. I'm going to go see them in the next few days too. Very excited to hang out with them again. But there's so many opportunities and so much upside. It is staggering. And I'm just glad that I woke up early to do this video lesson. I didn't know I was going to catch a double just to show you how fast it is. And this is a stock with a 6 million share float. It's already traded 23 million shares in the first hour of trading. Just to get you inspired. So leave a comment below. Are you inspired? Are you learning? Are you banking? Are you making losses? It doesn't matter as long as you see this stuff and you're here for it so you can learn from it, because it is outstanding.